Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we learn about one of the newest additions to the Allied Health curriculum at Quincy College, the Radiologic Technology program. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, hazy sunshine. It's 80 degrees, about as warm as it's going to get today. We've broken the heat wave, but not the humidity and not the chance for showers. It's a really unsettled weather pattern that we're entering into starting today, with a chance for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Rather muggy with a high about 80, lows tonight into the mid-60s. And really the unsettled pattern continues through early next week. A little more of the same tomorrow. Scattered storms, still kind of humid. High around 80. It'll be warmer on Sunday, still muggy with a chance for storms. Sunday's highs in the upper 80s. It's still unsettled here on Monday. Chance for storms most every day, and rather oppressive humidity with highs Monday in the low 80s. Again, hazy, 80 in Quincy right now. Checking out news for you today, the Quincy City Council is now on summer recess after wrapping up its business this past Monday night. The council did approve the $424 million budget for the fiscal year that begins on July 1st. Represents an $18 million increase. The budget does include a mayoral salary increase from $150,000 to $285,000 and a salary increase for city councilors from $30,000 to $44,500. Ward 2 Councilor Richard Ash had recommended that $3,000 cut for councilor salaries instead of the $47,500 recommended by the mayor. The council president Ian Kane also introduced a proposal to create a new process for evaluating the salaries for the mayor and city councilors going forward.
Which would guide a future process so that, the city, no one is put in this position again, where, there's sort of a not guided process. There wasn't, there was a fine report presented, but I think a more outlined process for guiding salary increases based on a base salary in a particular year will be useful going forward. So, the amendment, which was put into ordinance from the main city council meeting last night, will be heard in the fall, or I guess in September when we come back from the summer break. But essentially, when it does go into place, and there'll probably be, some sort of grace period that, over the next, there would be annual increases at a certain percentage based upon the consumer price index, and then a review every 5 years of that base salary. And that would be guided by an independent committee of three, as I guess constituted by the city council. And then there can also be sort of performance-based metrics that could be applied as well. So I think that that's a better place to be for guiding something like this, and having that sort of constituted in the ordinances, so that this process thing, I think, was the biggest part of it, was that there was no order to how this is done, and there was not a salary increase for any of these positions in a considerable period of time, and so we hope that solves a gaping hole in process.
Kane said his proposal was sent to the Ordinance Committee and will be discussed when the City Council reconvenes on September 9th. Well, as it stands right now, Lunar New Year will not be a holiday for the Quincy Public Schools next year. The school committee adopted the calendar for the next school year, which does not include the Lunar New Year holiday. The school committee obtained an opinion from an outside law firm that says state law gives the school committee the power to set the school calendar. The committee had sought that opinion after the city council had voted to create the Lunar New Year school holiday. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, who supports the school holiday, says the law is open to interpretation.
It's an interesting dynamic, the roles and so forth of the elected officials. So, the school committee does control the calendar to an extent. There are, holidays that have to be observed. So, the federal and state holidays, it's not like we have a choice to have them or not. So, 10 different lawyers, you probably get 10 different opinions on whether the council had the right to do that or not. But I think in the end, it does send a very loud message to the school committee. Look, it's time really to establish that. I mean, 40 to 50% of our student population celebrate Lunar New Year. It's probably time to do it. So whether the ordinance is completely valid or not, that's a pretty big message to the school committee, 9-0, when they very seldom ever weigh in on those kinds of issues. So for now, it's still not a day off. We'll see what happens.
Well, the city attorney had said the city council was within its right to create the school holiday, but not a citywide legal holiday. Looks like it's going to be at least another 3 months before a new Italian restaurant opens in Quincy Center. Viva Trattoria was first proposed for the ground floor of the Nova apartment complex on Hancock Street in Quincy Center in January of last year. City Clerk Nicole Crispo explains that the restaurant provided an update to the Board of License Commissioners earlier this week.
Tom Croshaw was there. He did give us an update on Viva Trattoria. They will be opening in mid-September. Their furniture is to be delivered late August, and so they're working on the space right now. And as far as the entertainment goes, it's for some background music in the restaurant and out at their patio, and also maybe an acoustic player on special nights.
Viva Trattoria is a small chain of restaurants owned by the same owners as the 110 Grill restaurant chain. They have several other locations in Hanover, Malden, Stoneham, and Marlborough, even one in New Hampshire. Senator Elizabeth Warren was in Quincy recently. Warren stopped by Cam Man Foods on Quincy Avenue to meet with representatives from Quincy Asian Resources and Cam Man. Warren highlighted the recent $627,000 federal grant that Quincy Asian Resources received for their workforce development program. Those funds are used to help immigrants obtain job skills and help strengthen and diversify the regional workforce. Warren praised Corey for helping new arrivals to the country get some basic training and take on essential jobs in the economy. She called the program a life-saving opportunity. Warren was joined by State Senator John Keenan and State Representative Tacky Chan of Quincy. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, the Radiologic Technology program at Quincy College is about a year old. We'll learn all about it next. Welcome back. As I mentioned, the Radiologic Technology program at Quincy College is just about a year old. Broke ground December of 2022, opened up in June of 2023 over at Seville Avenue in Quincy Center. So joining us once again on the program to talk more about it is the Dean of Nursing and Natural Health, Karen Manning, and new to the program, but hopefully not the last time, is Gabrielle McColgan, who actually directs the Radiologic Technology program. That's a mouthful. Welcome, ladies. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's an interesting program to learn, Karen, about. It was about a year ago, right, that the program first got up and running?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yes, it was a long process, but like any new program, doing a needs assessment, talking to healthcare providers, is it something that's needed in the area, surveying students, are there students interested to take it? And then once we had all that, hiring a consultant to develop the curriculum, getting approval from Massachusetts Department of Higher Education, our college accreditation agency, laying out the architectural structure, where it was going to go, and from there, we implemented the program.
And you needed somebody to direct it too, right? But you actually had to build out a physical structure, a laboratory essentially, right?
We did.
Yeah.
So we have an actual fully operational X-ray machine.
Right.
So, and that they use during the labs. Yep. And we have phantoms that they actually can take X-rays, whether it be head, body, stomach, legs. They have phantom body pieces, full body, that they do x-rays on.
So when you say phantom, it's not real.
It's not real.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's a true representation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it gives the student a real-life world experience as to what it would be like.
Absolutely. And then they can see the actual x-rays taken of it.
Great.
So they can look at the x-rays.
Yeah, so we have a couple of pictures, or one at least, that
Yes.
want to show folks just to give them an example. So what are we looking at here? And you can see that right in the monitor there.
So this is our energized room. So energized meaning that it emits radiation. We have our full body positioning phantom on the table. You can see one of the students operating the x-ray tube, and you can also see our classroom is on the back of the glass there. So it's in conjunction. The classroom's right attached to our energized room. So it really kind of simulates, this is what you can see in practice.
Okay, and this is right, and it's in the Seville building, right?
Yes.
On the ground floor there. Karen, did you have to take any space away from anything else to create this? You
It was
Yeah.
a parking spaces.
Okay,
So we
okay.
took quite a few parking spaces away.
Okay.
But certainly there's a need for this program, and the benefit far outweighs the spaces we lost.
Okay, all right. So if you could maybe talk a little bit about the curriculum for this program.
Yeah, actually, if I
Or-
Sure,
Sure,
yeah, I can
Gabrielle,
take it.
sure.
So it's a combination. Students do in-person didactic lecture on the Quincy campus. They also do the lab setting classes, and then we also have the clinical partnerships. So students will go, starting in the first semester, out to clinic. So they're doing full-time classes on the Quincy campus, and then they're also immediately going out to clinical. So it's 5 semesters in length, and they're getting that hands-on experience right away. So that first semester they're out there at the hospitals, and then they rotate to a minimum of 2 facilities to kind of get a big range of experience.
Okay, and this trains them specifically for X-rays, right? Not
Yeah,
for any
so
other
it's
type of imaging.
yep. So they'll be able to work as an entry level radiographer,
Okay.
which is, there's so many terms that you hear out there,
Right.
but it's a pathway to other modalities. General radiography, you can move on to CT, MRI, mammography, interventional radiology. So there's really many different paths you can do after you do this foundational license.
Yeah, it really is an entry-level position in that field, right?
Yes.
And as I understand, you can start out by making a pretty good living.
Yeah, you can. I think entry-level radiographers in the state are around 70,000,
Yeah.
depending on where you work, whether it's a hospital and location. So yeah, it's a really good starting wage.
Yeah. Are there any prerequisites before taking this
Yes.
particular program? There are.
Yes, so pretty typical to other allied health programs. You have anatomy, physiology,
Okay.
college level math, English, things, those types of courses, the general ed courses. You can take some of the general education courses throughout the program as well, but there's a whole kind of list of things you got to do to get accepted, but
Yeah.
that's part of it. Is the
Okay.
prerequisite
Yeah,
course,
so it's not something that, somebody outside of the field can just kind of take this one class and then become an
Right.
X-ray technician. That's-
Exactly, yeah. You have to follow, the program runs in a structure, so you have to follow it in,
Yes.
in a sequence.
Yes.
Yep.
How many students in the first class is coming up? Is to graduate soon, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so our first group is graduating in August. So
Oh.
our first pinning ceremony is August 8th. And then we have our second cohort of students running, and then we have 16 students in that
Okay.
group. So
you've doubled it already. So Karen,
Yeah.
to your point, there is a need.
There is definitely a need.
Yeah.
So we, for the January cohort, we do expect to have more than 16, and and we're looking also future. Do we need it on the Plymouth campus? So we're always doing a needs assessment.
Sure.
Always looking at the other modalities that they could work in, like I said, CAT scan. Is it a postgraduate certificate that we could offer? So sonography, so we're always doing needs assessment.
Okay.
What are the hospitals, the healthcare organizations, what do they need? Where are the biggest shortages, and where
Yeah.
can we help?
I know you and I have talked about this before, about the shortage throughout the
Yes.
healthcare field, right?
Absolutely.
Especially post-pandemic. So many folks either retired if they were close to retirement, or just burned out, right?
Correct.
Essentially, and changed careers altogether. Yeah. Are you still
Absolutely.
seeing that?
We're still seeing a
Really?
shortage in all areas of healthcare. For all the allied health programs that I oversee, from surgical technology, radiologic technology, physical therapy assistant, shortage,
Okay.
nursing shortage.
Big time,
So
right,
we're
yeah.
definitely still seeing it. So, you know, we're just really looking to close that gap off of the programs that are needed. We're also looking at pathways where we can offer certificates, like for certified nursing assistants, patient care technicians, medical assistants. So if they start with certificates, get out there working in the healthcare, hopefully be able to bring them back, and they can progress up the ladder and now go on to another field like radiologic technology.
Yes, although this radiologic technology, this is a degree program.
This is a degree program,
so
that's
you-
an associate, but the pathway is starting sometimes with workforce to get them into healthcare,
Yes.
because every area in healthcare is critically short.
Yeah.
But if we can offer pathways, yes, from certificate to associate degree, and then hopefully they'll go on for higher degrees.
Sure, sure. Gabrielle, you yourself have worked in the field, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, tell
yeah.
us a bit about that.
So I worked at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center
Wow.
for about 7 years
Wow.
before I took this position.
Okay.
So that was a place that actually trained as a student and secured a job there after the fact. It's been a great place to work, great
Yeah.
place to learn. And after just kind of reevaluating, I found this opportunity and as a new program, and now
And here you are.
Here I am.
Yeah. Well, it's case in point, right? Leaving the field,
Yeah.
but still giving back to it.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I still work per diem when I can
Yeah.
to kind of keep my skills, but my focus now is kind of in this aspect. But there is definitely a shortage of technologists there, and going out to do all of our site visits, we hear that from managers. So
Is that right?
just trying to fill
Yeah.
the need.
The current class, you know, kind of, I mean, without naming names certainly,
Yeah.
but kind of give us a demographic overview of who these folks
Sure.
are. Yeah.
So we were surprised. We saw applicants really from all over.
Really?
Our current second group of students, we have a student from on Cape Cod.
Mm-hmm.
We have a student coming from Lawrence. So we have students really from all over in the city, on the outskirts. Our clinical partners are growing. So really a diverse group of students. Some are on their second career that
gonna
are
ask
going
about that.
back.
Yeah, okay.
You know, they did something and now they're reassessing. And healthcare, you know, typically has job security, I would say. So a lot of second career, some people right out of high school. It's really a mix.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And from all backgrounds as well, would you say?
Yeah, all backgrounds for sure. Definitely, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
men, women, is it?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Our first group of students, we have 2 male students. In our second group, we ended up actually having 16 female students.
Is that right?
Interestingly enough,
Yeah.
but our next applicant pool we're seeing, it's coming from the field. I see it both. Definitely a good split for
Sure.
men and
Yeah.
women.
I mean, I think, you know, traditionally we think, especially in the healthcare field, women taking a primary role,
Yes.
right? But there's opportunities for men
For
as
sure.
well. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. So, yep, we're seeing it. We're seeing hopefully get more applicants as they learn more about the program too.
Yeah. Who are your clinical partners? Who do you partner with?
So we have 13 clinical partners.
Really?
So we're pretty
Oh, okay.
spread.
All right.
We have some in the city, BIDMC, Beth Israel, Brigham and Women's, New England Baptist, and then we're on the outskirts on the South Shore, South
Yes.
Shore Hospital,
Okay.
part of Steward Health. I could kind of keep going on this.
Yeah.
We have
So
quite
all
a
the major
few.
institutions that you would
Yeah,
think of. Okay.
yep.
And what about like community health centers, community
So we don't
partners?
really send students
No,
there
okay.
where they just don't have the volume for students
see.
to kind of get the hands-on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we do look into rotations where students can experience like a different environment, whether that's a mobile company we have
Oh,
to look to
okay,
work
yeah.
with, or an urgent care outside of
Right,
the hospital. But I would
yes.
say most technologists work in the hospital setting.
Sure. Okay. Karen, there is some financial assistance for folks who want to get into the program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we do, being a new program,
Yeah.
we do have some scholarship for students for the first year,
Okay.
so which helps their tuition.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in terms of going to classes, is this something that it sounds like it has to be done hands-on. This is
It does.
in person.
So
yeah.
currently, well, we do have a couple courses that we have put the theory portion online,
Oh, all right.
but the labs, you know, being in the lab that we just showed, that they need the hands-on.
Sure.
It just helps from them bring in practice theory right into the clinical setting. So there really is no gaps, because everything that we can offer in the lab is the same that they're going to have in the healthcare organization,
world, yeah.
in the real world.
Yeah, we have actually a little video clip that we can show. Basically the same room that we just saw in the photograph,
Yep.
but actually see it in operation, and there it is there.
Oh, great.
So Gabrielle, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is one of our students. She's operating the X-ray tube. It configures in many different directions.
Yeah.
We can do stretcher patients, wheelchair patients, patients on the table, so we
Yep.
can really simulate pretty much any type of study,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah, and they are able to see that image that they took in that
Yes,
lab.
so a
and
lot
then
of
analyze
it is really the hands-on, but also, yeah, we can image the phantoms. We obviously don't image each other.
No, right.
But we can image the phantoms, and they can see the exams live, which is great.
Yes.
It's instant. So.
And how do you teach them how to identify problems, in the images?
Yeah, so we have an image evaluation course that's really important,
Yeah.
actually, to mention, because there's a quality you need to obtain. So that's a part of our program, is image evaluation, where we look at images, how can we critique them for quality, diagnosis, things like that. So.
Okay. And your mannequins, if you will, your stand-ins, do they have different, maladies
So
that
they
go with them?
don't,
No,
but we
okay.
can simulate. We can give the patient, the student, a scenario
Yeah.
where they could work outside critical think to try to figure out how they would obtain the image based on the patient condition.
Yeah, it's, how do you find a broken leg, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, is that basically what X-rays will show you?
They will show you that,
Yeah.
yeah. I know everyone thinks broken bones. We do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
X-ray techs are in the OR. They do surgical procedures,
Oh.
doing live imaging there. They do live, interventional radiography is when you're doing line placements and things. So many different patient conditions. We're in the emergency room. We go up to the floors to do portable exams in the ICU. So we're everywhere in the hospital. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's not like the old-fashioned just take a picture and leave.
Yeah, no, it's
anymore,
we're everywhere. The eyes of medicine, so they say. to
The
see.
eyes of medicine, yeah. Now, is continuing education required? I'm assuming the
Yes.
technology changes over
So
time?
yes, so upon completion of the program, the students actually have to sit for a national exam.
Oh,
Through the
they have to?
Yes,
Okay.
to work in the state of Massachusetts.
see.
Yes.
Okay.
And we prepare them for that exam.
Sure.
They also, after they complete that requirement, from there on, every 2 years, you do continuing education requirements that are set by the ARRT, which is the Registry for Radiologic Technologists.
Okay, all right.
So there is a requirement for that, staying up to date, new equipment, all sorts of things.
I would think, right, yeah,
Yeah.
the way the technology changes so quickly. To further their education
Yep.
in imaging, CAT scans, MRIs, what kind of skills would be required for that?
So there's many paths you can take. We're exploring certificate programs to
Yep.
potentially offer.
Yeah.
Some people can do it on the job. It
Really?
really depends kind of where you end up, but a lot of technologists will find themselves transitioning to other modalities, so they're called, or some stay in general radiography for their career.
Yep.
And that's just as fine too.
Okay,
So
is that what you did?
that's what I did,
That's
yeah.
what you did, yeah.
So depending on where you work, you get such a variety, and
Yes.
yeah, some go on and do other things, some don't. So.
Yeah, okay. For folks looking to get into teaching, Karen, in this program, do you need more support there?
We do.
You do, okay.
So, as we heard the shortage in all areas in healthcare, we feel it in academia as well,
would think,
because in order to teach in a program, the radiologic program, they need to have experience in the field, be licensed, and it's hard. So we definitely feel it. I try to really highlight the benefits. You're paying it forward. As Gabby just mentioned, she loves it. You're literally paying forward your expertise, given the knowledge and skills to the students to go on, and they're going to be the future. There's the flexibility in the academic year. So most teachers have a portion of the summer off.
Okay.
Yes, you're teaching the academic year, September to May, but then there's some flexibility over the summer. You know, some pick up extra and some just want the summer off.
Sure.
So, you know, there's that benefit. So there are a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
I've been in academia for over 30 years, and to me, that paying forward is so worth it.
I would think, yeah. So maybe folks who recently retired, you know,
Yep.
or left the field for other reasons, might
Absolutely.
want to think about giving back in this way instead. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else we should add about this program right now, do you think, that's important?
So it's exciting.
Yeah.
We're going for accreditation now.
Yeah.
You know, Gabby's working on that. We're all working on that because it's specific for radiologic technology. The college is accredited. Now the program, we're going for accreditation.
I see.
And we'll be looking to grow it, expand it, and then offer other modalities.
Sure.
So we're excited. We
Yeah.
have a lot to do.
Great. Well, thank you so much for talking about it and letting our viewers know about it. Hopefully we've enticed some folks to at least learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
for
You're
having
You're very
us.
welcome. And we'll check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. It's very summer-like. The heat wave has been broken, but it's still uncomfortable with temperatures around 80 degrees. Look out for some storms around, and really we can copy and paste that forecast right through Monday. There's a chance for scattered storms every afternoon and daytime highs in the upper 70s and low to mid 80s. So stay cool out there. Thanks again to Karen Manning and Gabrielle McColgan for joining us from the Quincy
Thank
College
you.
Radiologic Technology Program. Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching Monday here in the show. Quincy Housing Authority Director Jim Marathas is stopping by for a summer update. Meantime, you can hit our website anytime. It's qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.